Hello, welcome to the Waimea Rash Guard and Swim Bottom Sew Along. I am Sharon Aguilar. I am your hostess this week. I'm so glad that you've joined me. So throughout this week, we're going to be sewing the bottoms first, and then we'll be sewing the top. This is day one. So for today's tasks, we are going to be selecting the fabric we want to use. We'll be selecting our size, printing the pattern, making any adjustments that we need to make, and then we'll be cutting out all of our fabric. And then tomorrow is the day that we will get to start sewing. So on to the first task. First task, we are going to select fabric. So you're going to want to use fabric that has 75% stretch both ways. So that means when you hold it up, you can stretch it along the grain. You can stretch 4 inches to 7 inches. And then across the grain, so this way, I guess, whichever way you're holding it, you're going to be able to stretch also from 4 inches to 7 inches when you try and tug on your fabric. And you're going to want to use the appropriate fabric for what you are making your rash guard for. So if you can use it for swimming. That's definitely an intended purpose of it. So then you would use swim fabric, but not necessarily. If you're making the top, you could use any kind of athletic fabric, just depending on the purpose for it. So if you want to wear it to the gym, you're going to want to use like a lightweight athletic fabric that breathes really well. If you're going to be running outside in freezing weather, you're going to want to wear a very thick, heavy, warm fabric that has the correct stretch percentage. I personally love a more fitted athletic top like this because it just means that when I'm running, I don't have bulky fabric that's moving all around while I'm running. I want something that's more fitted, and the Waimea is perfect for that. So you can definitely choose which options you like and make a running top. And I hope you do it and you post and you show me your wonderful top that you've made. The bottoms you would use for swimming. You could also alternately use it as a panty pattern if you wanted panties with pockets, or if you want just the paneling that it offers, you could do that as well. So we'll start tomorrow. Day 2 will be the day where we start sewing the bottoms. So you can do either or both. If you just want to make the bottoms this week, you need some extra bottoms to go with your tops, you can do that. Or if you are just here to make a running top, you can do just that. Okay, so now that you have picked the fabric that you think will be best for the activity that you are going to be using your garment, now we are ready to pick size. So in order to pick size, grab a measuring tape, and we're going to take some measurements. The first measurement, and also have a pen ready because you're going to want to write these down. The first measurement we want to take is going to be our full bust measurement. So we're going to try to get this as parallel to the ground as possible. So we don't want it to be uneven or anything like that. We just want to get around our back and then the fullest part of our bust. So, and then write down that measurement. I also want to make note, you want to wear whatever bra that you would be wearing the top with. So if you're going to be wearing a very compressive sports bra, you're going to want to probably measure with that bra, just because that will give you the accurate measurement for what you're making. If you're wearing a push-up bra with it, then you'll want to measure with that bra. Okay, so the next measurement that you want to take will be your over bust measurement. So the over bust measurement goes right above your bust, and the only reason I'm having you take this is just so that you can see the difference between your full bust and your over bust. If it is more than 4 inches, you will probably need to pick the size down and make a full bust adjustment. For example, if your over bust is 32 inches and your full bust is 40 inches, that is an 8-inch difference. That is massive enough that if you just picked your bust by your bust, if you picked your size by your bust amount, then you're gonna have all this baggy extra fabric here. And it's not anything wrong with the pattern or wrong with you. It's just that you need special adjustments because you're larger up top, you're larger right here than you are in your shoulders. So you're going to want to pick a size down, and then to adjust, I would adjust through the princess seams to do a full bust adjustment. If you're doing a solid front, then you're going to want to slash and spread your pattern pieces to add extra width across your bust. Then the next measurement you want to take is your waist. Now, their waist measurement is the smallest measurement on your torso. But if you're like me, it might not be the smallest portion on your torso, just depending on how straight you are. Some people are really straight through this. Some people are like this perfect hourglass, and it's really easy to pick where the waist measurement is. But that's not the case for all of us. So you just want to find where you bend. So you're going to bend around, and you're going to put your hands where you bend, and then that is where you're going to take that measurement. So again, you're going to put it parallel. You don't want it to be uneven. You want to make sure it's parallel. Then you're going to take that measurement down. Next, we're going to get our hip measurement. And this is going to go across the biggest part of your booty. So you don't want to go under, you don't want to go on the high part of it. You want to go on the fullest part of it. And then you're going to want to go around and do that. So notice I'm also wearing things that are very fitted. If you're wearing jeans or you're wearing something that has bulk in it, you might want to either just measure in your panties or in some leggings, something that's really going to give you an accurate measurement. Because you're making you're making swim bottoms and they're very compressive. So if you're measuring off of like what you're wearing with jeans, it might give you an inch or two that you don't actually have. So now that you have all your measurements written down, you're going to want to print your pattern. So go to the size chart and you're going to want to see what your full bust, what your waist, what your hips, what they fall into. And those are the sizes that you're going to print. On the bottoms, you just need your full hip. If you're making that higher waisted, you'll want to have your waist measurement. But if you're making the mid-rise or the smaller rise, you probably won't need it because you're not getting to that part that may be different. On the top, you need all three measurements because you're going to sew the bust on whatever measurement that is, your waist, you want to grade for that if it's a different size, and then your hips as well. So let's say you're more hourglass, you might end up having to grade your pattern in, or if you're more rectangle, you might have more of a straight side seam than what the pattern has. When you grade, you do want to grade from the side seam. Don't grade on the princess seams because it's going to make it wonky, and it's going to change the curve line that you need for the hourglass. Okay, so sizing. Also height adjustments. If you need to make any height adjustments, go ahead and make that to your pattern. I'll show you on there like how to grade and how to do that. So let's head to the cutting board so you can see my pieces. We're going to go ahead and cut them out and then we'll be ready to get started for the week in sewing. Okay, so I am just going to show you a very small diagram of the pattern piece. Of course, your pattern pieces are going to be much larger. I just wanted to show you on grading, on how to grade. So when you grade, you are going to want to, like, let's say, for example, your bust and your waist and your hips are in different sizes. So if your bust and your hips are in one size, and let's say you have a more rectangular shape, so your waist is in another size. So let's say I'm going to point your bust and your hips are here. And then let's say your waist is here. So you would want to draw a gradual line between those sizes. And that's where you would cut, is along there. So, and if you have the opposite, let's say you're very hourglass and you have a bust that's here, and then maybe your hips are here and your waist is here. So you would draw those points and then draw, I don't want to do more of a V. You want to keep it gradually, like a smooth curve more than just very angular. And you would cut along those lines. Another thing that you might need to do is you might need to adjust for height. There is a lengthen shorten line right here. So is what I would do is just draw a parallel line all along there. And then if you need to add an inch, then I would take another inch from that, draw a line, and then spread it apart. If you need to remove an inch, then in that case, you would draw an inch apart and then put them together. So this is on the rash guard. If you are doing the bottoms, you would want to grade, I have the bottoms cut out. You would want to print out all the sizes that you need. And let's say you're going to a bigger size, then you're going to make this line more like this. So then you're going to draw your point here for the one size, and then I usually like to use my ruler because you see this is a straight line, so you are going to draw it like this if you need to grade to the other side, to another size on here. If you do that, then you're going to want to make sure that you are using the waistband that correlates with what you have graded to right here on the bottoms pieces. Okay, so I was asked about full bust adjustments, and if you're adjusting the princess seams, the easiest way to do that is to make a mock-up garment and then let your princess seam out. And I will link a resource for that in the blog post. If you are doing the solid front, then you're going to want to find your bust point and slash and spread your garment there and add the width that you need. I'll also link some resources on how to do that as well. Once you have all your adjustments made, we're ready to cut out our pieces, and then I will see you back tomorrow and we'll be ready to start sewing. So we are getting our pattern pieces ready to make some swim bottoms. So this pattern features a side panel with a pocket, which you can definitely do, but I'm also going to tell you that if you want just a quick pair with no pocket, there is a front liner piece in the pattern that you can just cut your mane out of that piece if you do not want to do the pocket part or the side panel part. So in that case, you would cut 2 of these. But if you want to do it as the pattern is written, then you're going to want to cut your side panel. You'll cut 2 of those, mirrored image. You'll cut on the bottom line if you're wanting to do the mid-rise and the higher line for the high rise. And then if you are doing your pocket, then you'll need to cut 2 sets of mirror images. So 2 pockets. So there's going to be 4 pieces total on these. And then you'll need the middle part, the front middle. And you're going to cut that on the fold, and it'll look like this after you've cut it out. And then of course you have your back. No matter what version you do, you're going to need just one solid back. You'll need the mane, and then you'll need some cut out of a lining material. And then as I said, you need at least 1 liner. If you don't want to do the pockets in that, you can also cut this out of your main fabric and then omit the panel in this front. Okay, as far as the waistband, the top of the suit, you have the option of enclosing some elastic in this pattern piece. It'll be 1-inch elastic. If you don't have 1-inch elastic, or you want something that's more adjustable, you'll want to also cut these out. So you're going to cut 2 out of either one. They'll be the same, and this one's just taller. And with that being taller, and then it's also not as wide, you're going to have the ability to not use elastic. So that's really nice. I really like this option. I prefer to use this option when I have fabric that is super stretchy. If you're using a swim fabric that you really don't want to be, that's not as stretchy, that's on the very minimum part of the stretch, you might find this more constricting. So it's kind of up to you what you would like to do on this. So let's talk about the pattern pieces that you will need for the rash guard. So on the rash guard for the front, if you want to do a solid front with no color blocking, then you will need this piece, or you can cut out the full length, just depending on if you want a short crop or a long crop, or you want a full length shirt. You'll just need to cut it on that line for the front, and then you'll want to do the same on the back. So there is the back pattern piece. Whenever you cut out your back, you're going to want to make sure to make a mark so you know where the back of the sleeve goes. As well as I always like to mark where the center back is, and I like to mark where the center front is. So it makes it easier when I'm attaching my neckband. So that's on those. You can also mix and match these with the color block pattern. So if you want to have a color blocked front, but then you don't want to do it on the back, then you could use the color blocked front pieces with a regular back. So let me grab the right one that you'll need. So for the front, I'll start with the front pieces. For the front, you are going to have these 2 pieces if you're doing the color blocked front, and they go together like this. So both of these are cut on the fold. The fold for the top one is going to be right here, so do not miss this little fold line and cut these as 2 mirror. You want to make sure that it's cut out on the fold. Let me show you my piece that's cut on the fold. So this is what it's going to look like after you cut out the top piece. Do you see how it's like this? So this is that fold, and when you cut it out there, you're going to want to make a mark on the top and the bottom, and that's really going to help you to line up. You also want to make sure that you do these marks, and the reason making the marks on your fabric is really important is so that whenever you go to piece them together, you can line up your pieces. So that is the color blocked front, and you can pair that with either a solid back, or you can pair it with a color blocked back. And just make sure that you're cutting all of your pieces on the exact same line. So if you're cutting a short crop, you want all of your pieces to be cut on the short crop line. Or if you're cutting full length, then you want all of your pieces to be full length. So on the back, this is your 2 pieces for the color blocked back. You have a side insert, as well as you have the middle of the back. And the middle of the back is the only one cut on the fold. This one, you're just cutting 2 mirror images. And that is for your main body. The next piece you will need will be your sleeve piece. So this is, if I cut it at the elbow length, here is the full sleeve. There's also, you can cut it at the cap sleeve. Also make note there, this sleeve has a dart. So I like to cut it out like this, and then I'll mark my dart by folding the dart back. And then you just want to draw, I'll show you mine cut out. You want to draw onto your fabric. I draw it on the wrong side where your dart is for your sleeve. You also want to make a mark where the back of the sleeve is, so that you make sure to match it up with the back of the rash guard. The only two other things that you will need will be your neckband, and if you are doing a crop, you will need to have your crop band. Both of these are cut on the fold, so it'll be twice this length after you cut it, and you're just cutting one of each of these.